Yes, people, Mashal Hewitt, the founder of From Bromley with Love.news. First things first, before I even reflect on Bromley's 2-0 win over Salford, make sure you go into that descriptor below, subscribe to From Bromley with Love.news. If you don't want to do that, at least like, share this particular video, let people know what goes on From Bromley with Love. So, Bromley 2, Salford nil. How do we reflect on that game? Do you know what? Let's deal with the second half first things first. That second half today was an absolute non-event in a good way, right? Bromley, I said it to Andy, by now you've probably already watched my interview with Andy post-match. Bromley just shut the game down. Salford got no change out of Bromley whatsoever. Omar, Deji, Idris, Marcus Eiffel at right back, they shut Salford down. And this isn't a weak Salford team. I know, like, Carl Robinson at full time was bemoaning the fact that Salford have a lot of injuries. Obviously, no Barini, Cole Stockton wasn't playing, Woodburn wasn't playing. Just some names immediately off the top of my head. All of those players are first choice players, right? But he was like, "Oh, we had 11 injuries." And when a manager says that, right, I always say to myself, "Okay, you've got 11 injuries, but not all 11 would have been first choice players." But that's not to demean Salford. Ultimately, if the manager believes they've got 11 injuries, and that has if Bromley had 11 injuries, that would have a significant impact on the quality of the side that Bromley could put out. And even if all 11 weren't first choice players, it would mean that you're limited by what you can turn to from the bench. So Robinson was very much kind of like, listen, we did what we could with what we had. But that notwithstanding, there were some quality players on that pitch, right? Daniel Ladole is their top goal scorer and top assist maker this season. Kelly Namai has got eyes looking at him from higher levels in the English pyramid. So going forward, they have and had players on the pitch. Sese from who they bought from Wildstone. These are quality players that they've got and that they can turn to. And I think fair is fair, right? If you look at the stats, possession stats in particular, Salford dominated the ball. First half, I'll write it in the good, the bad and the ugly, but in the first half, Salford had at half-time 65, it might even be more, at least 65% possession. I think it might even have been 67, 68. But the score was Bromley 2, Salford 0. And again, Carl Robinson at full-time was like, we were brilliant in between the two boxes. And here's the thing. It's chalk and cheese then when you compare that to Andy Woodman. Andy Woodman doesn't want a team that's brilliant between the two boxes, unless brilliant between the two boxes means you're harrying and hassling and outrunning and outworking the opposition. That's what brilliant between the two boxes means when you're Bromley. And then what it boils down to is, yeah, but are you effective in the box? Because being effective in the box is actually what wins you football matches. Defensively, Bromley were effective in the box. How many clear-cut opportunities did Salford get outside of the first 20 minutes? One. And that was that long-range shot from Luke Garbett with like 7 minutes to go, right? That's not effective in the box. If you read my preview of the match, this is why I should subscribe to From Bromley with Love.news. If you read my preview of the match, I said in that preview, Salford are the second or third best team in League Two in terms of touches in the opposition box, but they're also I think it's the second most wasteful in terms of not converting big chances, and I kind of felt like that today. This is why you should study stats, because stats aren't just there to banter with. They tell a trend. They tell you a story, right? Salford had 1.5 big chances. Oh no, that's harsh. I'd say they had one big chance, which was a goalmouth scramble off a corner, and they had 2 half chances. No, actually, scratch that. I reckon they had 2 big chances and 1 half chance. So initially you have Kelly Namai's snapshot from the edge of the area, or just inside the area, which Grant Smith says. He'd have to have produced a worldie to beat Grant from that angle. So I call that a half chance. You've got the goalmouth scramble where I think Salford hit the post, and then a series of Grant Smith and some Bromley defenders eventually get it clear. And then you have a shot from, who was it? Was a midfielder, can't remember who. I want to say it was Sese, but I don't know. From the edge of the area, which just went narrowly wide of Grant Smith's post, right? And that was all in that opening 20 minutes. And obviously Salford were the better team in that opening 15-20. But Bromley had their chances in that. Cheeks headed a corner just over the crossbar. Crowhouse charged down a goalkeeper clearance which just went wide, and on another day goes back into the net, right? So it wasn't like Salford were completely dominant and completely on top, but they had the better of the opening exchanges. And then after that goal-mouth scramble, Bromley go right down the other end of the pitch. Charles sends in a worldy cross and Omar scores his 5th league goal of the season, right? Bromley now have a goal lead. They've got something to defend, something to get behind. Salford, for all of their pretty patterns, weren't effective when it mattered. And then 7 minutes later, ball's just bouncing from a throw on. Salford don't clear their lines, and Will Hondermark swivels on a shot. Goals kind of, I feel like, I haven't watched the goals back yet, but I feel like it goes through a sea of legs. Either way, the keeper was onside, right in the corner of the net, 2-0. And most Bromley fans, I reckon, at that point would have gone, Bromley are going to shut this game down, because Salford were still playing their Salford were committed to this playing out from the back thing. And I was just watching it going, too many times I felt like they were playing themselves into unnecessary trouble. And that doesn't mean that you should just kick it long and go direct. So that's not really my point here. But I did think they were overplaying at times. And there were times when I was watching them, I was like, someone just have a shot. Like, make Grant Smith work. You've got to do something. You can't just keep going backwards, forwards, sideways, looking for that killer pass. Someone just actually have a shot at the goal. And I just thought Bromley were better at Salford. Were better than Salford, in that regard, and that's why they were deserved winners. And like I say, the second half was driving rain and the wind. It was a complete non-entity. Bromley were professional, shut it down, and Salford couldn't find a way through. So Bromley deserved the win. That's now 4 wins on the bounce, 5 wins from their last 6, and Bromley are 3rd in League 2. And the thing is, right, I'm not even going to overreact to that. I'm sure some of you are sitting there watching this going, oh my God, Bromley are 3rd in League 2. I never saw this coming. But if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos in the season, did I not call it early? I think back in August, after like the 3rd, 4th or 5th game of the season, I went, yeah, Bromley are promotion contenders. Please, someone go find the receipts, because people think I'm making this up. I swear I called it early and said, yeah, Bromley are promotion contenders in this league. I haven't seen anything that worries me in this league as compared to what Bromley have got up their locker. So 3rd on merit, and we go to Walsall next week. Top of the table clash. Walsall are 1st, 2 points ahead of us, and Bromley are 3rd, and sitting pretty. In terms of, I'll put man of the match poll up on the Twitter account, Bromley with Love, on Twitter, and I think Will Hondermark won it. But a couple of people messaged me and made a good point. So the 4 people I put in as potential man of the match contenders, I put Deji, Omar, who I think have been brilliant as a centre-back partnership, by the way. Big props to those two. Deji, Omar, Ashley Charles, Will Hondermark. I thought right through that middle spine, hence why I asked Andy the question. I thought right through that middle spine, they shut Salford down and gave them no joy, no change in the half spaces in front of the penalty area, right? But give credit to Eiffel. Eiffel largely kept Kelly Namai